Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, this is ScrapMan bringing you another episode of Scrap Mechanic, and today is the day that we announce what the new series is going to be all about. Now, I know that when I announce this, I'm going to make a lot of you very happy, and I'm probably going to make a lot of you very sad, or maybe even angry. But pretty much there's no avoiding that outcome. Just know that I did not take this decision lightly on what this series is going to be. I evaluated the polls, I evaluated the comments, and I evaluated the logistics of the different ideas. So a lot of thought went into this decision. So what we're going to do in this episode is, well, of course, announce what the next series is going to be all about. And then we are going to build the first tile that is going to be part of this series. And that is going to give you all a template for how these tiles are going to coordinate with each other. That way we can have as much of a cohesive, collaborative world that we can when we build the tiles for this world. Because just like the future military base, we're gonna have to start off with building the world itself tile by tile. And that's also going to be a community project as well. So this episode is basically almost like a tutorial on how to contribute a tile. All right, but without any further ado, you're probably wondering what the series is actually going to be. Now, the responses to the poll were amazing. We had over 10,000 people vote in the poll. And the results were actually very surprising to me. Most of you, 46% of you at almost 5,000 votes, voted for the future space planet. Now, I was actually really surprised at this because the future space planet is the most similar to the last series, and also it seemed the most prone to having issues with crashing and things like that. And it is because of those factors and a lot of other factors as well that I've decided that we are not going to do the future space planet. I know most of you voted for it, and that's what made this really, really difficult. But I'm trying to also think of the health of the series, and there are too many scripted mods and things that are required for the future space planet to work, and for us to be able to coordinate creations with each other. And also it would involve constantly installing and uninstalling space mods to make the environment look a certain way in between the series videos and the non-series videos. And we had to use like different types of gravity mods depending on if we're on the surface or if we're in the if we're in space. And I've heard people having issues with the gravity mods on larger creations. So I felt like the future space planet was too risky to justify taking a chance on when we really want a series that is actually going to be something to look forward to for a little while. And the other main issue with the future space planet is we just got off of a space theme and a futuristic theme, and I think that may have contributed a lot to the votes. You guys probably really missed the future military base. It was such a big series on the channel that you just want to see more like it. But I think it'd be really good to have some variety on it. And the second place, I think, is perfect for this. Over 3,000 of you voted for the flooded world, and I think that this is probably the more attractive choice because we don't have to rely on that many mods for just creations to work. You can have standard creations and even completely vanilla creations, so I think that's good. And also I think it's going to allow for the biggest variety and diversity in our creations because we're going to have all kinds of things that we can create that'll fit in the flooded world. We can have land vehicles, we can have air vehicles, we can have water vehicles, we can have underwater sea life, we can have buildings and other land structures that aren't vehicles. We can have sunken ships underwater, we can have like sunken treasures. There's all kinds of things that we can have. So it's just there's like something for everyone on the flooded world. And I think that's really going to allow for a really sustainable series. Now, the big thing about this is the tiles. The first thing we're going to be doing is building the tiles as a community. And this is where you really, 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 really have to pay attention if you want to contribute a tile. Because we need to all agree on what the sea level is going to be and what the colors of the sea floor are going to be. So I have all this chosen out, and we're going to build a tile in this episode for the flooded world that is going to demonstrate how to do this if you want to contribute to the tiles. Now, first, I do want to thank everyone for participating in the poll. I know it's probably going to be a controversial decision, not going with the most popular one, but I hope you do understand that I do have my reasons for not choosing the future space planet, and it does have to do with thinking about you guys and the series as a whole, and making sure that we're going to be able to have something that isn't going to crash and just fizzle out after a couple of episodes. Okay, so now, flooded world. Here is my vision. We have a world that has been flooded. I know, right? It's a, that's it. That's the flooded world. That is my vision of what flooded world means. No, but there's more to it. So imagine almost raft style, but bigger variety in the types of islands that you come across. We could have little tiny islands, like you could create a small tile and have those little tiny like rock islands, but we could also have desert islands. We could have forest islands. We could have, islands with roads on them that people have built a community on. We could have completely abandoned, deserted islands that have no population, but like the remnants of populations on them. So I'm imagining just a vast ocean tile, and you see all these islands of various sizes and various types sticking up out of the water. And we can use a plane, or we can use a boat, or we can use a submarine, or even an underwater land vessel that just travels along the ocean floor. We could get between island to island to explore and discover what's what. So in order to build this island, we need an ocean floor. Now, if you want to make one of these tiles, what you're going to need to do is start off with a ground texture. And the ground texture is going to be sand, because the ocean bed is going to be sand. Now, this doesn't mean that you cannot add other textures. What this means is that the default texture is sand, and if you want to add any other textures, they have to be contained within the tile, and the edge has to be sand, so that way it'll smoothly transition to any other tiles that you guys make. That was an issue that we had with the future military base, is the edges of your tiles weren't always consistent with the edges of other people's tiles, so it was very hard to coordinate and line things up, so it kind of looked a little bit like a jigsaw of just tiles being placed. So for this world, let's really try to make it so that everything seems to fit together seamlessly. Okay, next, we need the height of sea level, because this is not going to be sea level, this is going to be underwater. Now, sea level height, I actually have to give credit to Khan for this. When he was building his island tile that he built and we used for the Multiplayer Monday ship battle, what he did was he used a really cool method using this landing pad here. And if you drag this landing pad over, you can use this as your sea level indicator. Okay, so what you're gonna wanna do with this landing pad is just set the scale to 5, and it's going to make it really, really big, but what this does, it actually gives you your surface right here. This is our sea level. So now if we go underneath, this is essentially how deep the ocean is gonna be. So now, let's say if we wanna create an island, all we have to do is raise the land up, and there you have it. So this is going to tell you exactly where the sea level is going to be as you're building your islands. So your islands are going above the ocean right now. You can essentially see this surface as the ocean surface. So I figure what I'm going to do for this tile is I'm going to keep it super basic. We're just going to build like the stereotypical stranded on a deserted island. So it's just that purely dirt island with a couple of little trees on it. Very, very small and like roundish. We're going to bring up the sides a little bit. Or I'm going to have to flatten this out some. There we go. That's looking okay. All right, so now I'm just going to make the transition to sea level a little bit more gradual. We're going to smooth this island out a little bit, because I want it to be like really kind of like just that classic deserted island kind of feel. All right, so let's see what it's looking like underneath. That's not looking too bad. All right, so now you might be thinking this isn't very deep for an ocean, but if you want to make something deeper, that is totally possible. You just have to make sure that your edges of your tile go up to just the standard default height. But if you want to make something deeper, you just go to terrain height, and all you got to do is just do the reverse. You can put it down below that level, so we can actually create some like some little deeper trenches and stuff here, just to add some variety to like the ocean floor, so it's not just like completely flat like this. But yeah, just make sure that your edges stay at that level. If you raise or lower the edge, then it's not going to line up with other tiles very well. All right, so we're just gonna finish up texturing out this ocean floor here. Oh, all right, so we have an issue over here. I've accidentally made my island too close to this side, so you can see that this is not going to look very good. So we're actually going to use the flatten tool, and we are going to go over here and try to flatten it down. Yeah, we got to try to flatten this edge down to sea level as much as we can. All right, so now that's created like a weird cliff here, but we're just going to use the smoothing tool a little bit. Not too much. And we're just going to try to smoothen out this cliff so that it's not so extreme. There we go. So this side of the island is going to be a little bit steeper than the other side, which I think is going to be fine. You know what I might do? I might actually add some rocks to this side so we can actually have like a rocky kind of cliff face maybe on this side of the island. And that can kind of help with this area as well. Okay, so now once you're happy with the shape of your island, next we have to color the ocean floor. And this is going to be really, really important, is we all need a standard color to use. So this right here is the hex code for the color 00ABFFFF. Now, all of this information is going to be available in the Discord when I create the channel. We're going to have a pinned message saying everything that you're going to need to create a tile for this world. So now that we have that, all you have to do is color all of the ground just below where the spawn platform meets the tile. So I'm going to set strength all the way up to 100. And here we go. Just go ahead and color away right up to pretty much, it's kind of convenient that it casts a shadow right where you want it to be. So I'm actually going to focus first. We're just going to outline the island itself, and then we're going to know exactly where the water line is. And then from there, we can just delete the platform, and then we can just work on painting the rest of it without the platform getting in our way. Yep, so just paint all the way around. All right, there we go. So now I'm just going to go above sea level here and see if we have any spillover, which we do right here. So I can just erase some of that. And it's looking good. So now we can go ahead and delete this. And now we can see where sea level is on this island. And this allows us to just easily fill in the rest of this without having to worry about getting the sea level correct. All right, so here is the basics of our deserted island. So now it's just a matter of adding some more assets and aesthetic stuff to the top of this. Now, since this is a deserted island, I'm going to have some relatively dead trees on it. We're just going to have like a section of like dead trees over here. I wish there was a palm tree. Doesn't seem like we have any palm trees or anything anywhere. I'm gonna give our lonely guy a singular tree for shade here. So at least he gets a little bit of shade from the sun, depending on how I rotate this tile into the map. All right, and then like kind of near the water line, we're just gonna have a couple little things of like plants, little foliage plants just kind of growing over here. Maybe a few little bushes over here. You know what? We're even going to add just a little hint, just a little tiny hint of like, whoops, little bit less strength on this. Little tiny hint of like green kind of coming up out of the water. Just like a little bit of grass is going to be growing around these areas. Subtle little detail here. You know, just something to give them a little bit of hope so it's not just like a complete desert. All right, so now in the back over here, we're going to have a rocky area. So we're going to have to make some of these rocks a little bit bigger. All right, and there we go. Now we have kind of our rock cliff over here. And I think we have pretty much a deserted island. I mean, we've got a little bit of texture in the ocean floor here. We've got some cliffs. We got some trees, some sand. So I'm just going to save this and let's go ahead and spawn this in a new world and put some water in it to see the very first glimpse of the Flooded World series. So before we get into the Flooded World, we're going to have to actually settle on what mods we're going to be using for this world. Because I don't want to be like the future military base where I just had every single mod you guys ever used and the mods just got way out of hand. I think we should kind of narrow it down to the core mods that we need. And this is going to be information that we're going to be putting in the Discord. This is all subject to change and update as you guys create things. But I don't want to use just like little mods that have very, very specific things in them just for the single mod. So I always use the buttons and switches and the crazy wheels just because that's the developer's first releases with the mod, with the mod support. If you want to make destructible things, I'm going to allow for mod pack mods with the mod pack polygons cardboard. I'm going to allow for destructible parts. I'm going to allow for the mod pack polygons. We're definitely going to need the helium mod and the wings mod and the take flight mod. Of course, the ScrapMan wheel covers and the multiplayer Monday mod if you want to use any of these things for whatever reason. And I'll use the FLX tremendous wheels mod because there are some awesome wheels on that. And the new legend mod. I see a lot of creations have the new legend mod. So I'm going to have the whole list of mods that I've approved in the Discord as well. And if there's anything else that I think should be added, I will add it in the Discord. So here's what you got for now. So let's spawn into the world and see what this thing looks like so far. All right, so here is our tile without any water on it for now. And there's no, oh wait, how did this happen? There's just a little bit, I hope this isn't going to happen on everything, because I thought I had the entire thing painted. So we're gonna have to see if we can fix this. I don't know why it's doing that, to be honest. Okay, so it didn't do it on this side. So make sure you test out your tiles like I am right now, because I did not know that the edge was not painted the seabed color. Okay, so now we're going to use the water mod. We're gonna place the water at sea level, which we can see it right here. And then we're gonna see what this world looks like with the water mod in it. All right, you ready? Here it goes. And sea level. All right, so we are now on a deserted island, and you can clearly see if I had the whole world the same color as the ocean floor, then it would look much better. But right now I just have the singular tile. So this is our deserted island. We have our rock cliffs over here. You see the rocks go underwater down over here. So let's see what it looks like underwater. I think that looks not too bad. Yeah, I think that's not going to look too bad once the entire world is actually this color. So this is the first contribution to the flooded world. Now just imagine seeing a bunch of little islands everywhere. So here's my advice. We don't need islands on every single tile. You can have an underwater tile. You can have a tile that is pure ocean. It doesn't have to stick up above sea level. So you can build a trench tile, for instance, that has just a deep trench, and it has like a windy trench with like rocks and like other things, and maybe even build, depending on how you want to use the assets, you can build some sea life looking things down there, or even like a shipwreck or something like that. Yeah, you can have tiles that are not islands. So I want to make sure that we are aware of that, because I want the islands to be relatively spread out, and then we can have some cool ocean stuff in between. So yeah, let me know down in the comments if you have any other ideas on what we could do in the flooded world, what kind of tiles we would look for. I'm going to create a separate channel in the Discord for tile submissions and a separate channel for creation submissions. Obviously, we're not going to be looking at creation submissions for a little while. We're going to focus on tile submissions first until I feel like we have a full world worth of tiles. And then we'll make the world, and then we'll go on to the actual creations. I think this is going to be a fun world, and I really look forward to what kind of things you guys are making. And if you have any questions at all, let me know in the comments or in the Discord. I'm going to create a chat channel for the flooded world as well. And any questions or concerns you can put in there. So the Discord channels will be released later today, so I don't spoil this video for those of you who were wanting to watch it and not have any spoilers on what the world was going to be. But yeah, I feel like we are at stage 1 of the flooded world. We are trapped on an island, and we need to find places to go, and that's where you guys are gonna come in. So I look forward to seeing what you guys make. I look forward to seeing the feedback. I hope I didn't make too many of you too angry at my choice, and I hope I made a lot of you happy with my choice. But anyway, this has been ScrapMan, and I'll see you next time. Bye.